Modestas, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing? I know you've only just arrived in Vegas, pretty much.
Yeah, no worries. It's my absolute pleasure. Yeah, literally just got here yesterday. Very long flight. Obviously, being sat 10 hours cramped up on a plane was not the one, but we're here. We're ready to go. So, yeah, that's it. We're all good.
And of course, this wasn't in the plan, the travel to Vegas. Originally it was supposed to take place in London. Were you disappointed when you heard that it couldn't take place in the UK?
I mean, obviously, yeah, like you want to. I mean, that would have been my first fight in front of an actual crowd, in front of 20,000 people at the O2, people are actually going to be there in your corner. Whereas now, I'm going to be going to the Apex. I'm probably not. Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends. I think they'd probably bring a couple of British fans out, I guess. But yeah, I mean, obviously, that was like the dream, but I know that's coming further on down the line, so I don't sort of hold my head low on that thought. I actually really like Vegas. Like every time I come over here, I don't know, I get like these cool vibes. Like I don't know, I just really enjoy it. I think the fight capital of the world, you can't really beat that either. And the Apex is now such a mainstay place in the MMA community that it's almost an honor to fight here. So yeah, although I couldn't fight in front of a crowd in front of my hometown, I'm still not disappointed. I get to fight and do what I love, and in the UFC and in Vegas. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, because obviously you fought in Vegas before your last fight was in Vegas in the Apex. What was that
Yeah.
overall experience like for you? I know obviously you didn't get the result that you wanted, but in terms of the overall performance, the overall experience, how was that for you?
Yeah, it was again absolutely amazing. The UFC takes great care of you. They sort you out. They have everything done for you. They got your meals. They got all like your schedule to go to the PI. So yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed it the first time I came. So I knew that following along from that first experience, I knew I was obviously going to really enjoy it the second time round.
Yeah, and of course talk about the result. Obviously it was a split decision. You didn't, come. Oh, I've lost you.
Sorry, yeah, it was my alarm literally just went off. Sorry.
That's okay. So obviously, it ended in a split decision. You didn't take away the win that you wanted, but do you look back at that and how do you assess your performance?
Yeah, so initially, a lot obviously when I was in the cage, I really did feel that I won the fight, and stuff like that. So obviously, initially, you're gonna feel like upset and like disappointed. You're like, what the hell? Like I definitely feel like I had that one in the bag. And even watching it back like a load of times, and my dad watching it back a lot, I still think I had it in the bag because two judges scored him the first round. I think that makes no sense because that was the round where I scored the most significant strike differential against him. But at the end of the day, what I do take from it is that I was able to show out more of my skill set, to be able to fight better, to be able to fight more relaxed. Now it's like now you really like got your foot planted in the UFC, and like you've had now it's like my third fight, so now everything like in terms of like the nerves, the environment, and everything, like you're definitely like I've gotten used to it properly, and now I feel like I'm like even more like let out and reach my sort of my fullest potential. So um, it was definitely my best performance. I definitely let more of my techniques out there, so I was able to showcase a lot more. I think I got a lot of attention from people. It sparked a bit of controversy and stuff like that, which is always good. Even with a loss, it's good to have people talking about it. But had I had won that fight, I wouldn't have made the appropriate adjustments that I've made now. So I'm actually very grateful for that loss because now I've made a lot of changes which I wouldn't have made had I won that fight.
Yeah, what kind of changes have you made? And are you going to be approaching
So,
this fight any differently?
so the main thing is I changed my team, um, and it's nothing against the team that I was with because they helped me out so much. They gave me so many amazing skills, and it was great, especially. But at certain times in your career, you've got to find ways to be able to unlock your fullest potential even more, a bit, or help to bring out your skill set the best way possible. And that's why I had to make the move. So I've moved to Team Titan. And it's not often that I'm the oldest guy in the room or the shortest guy in the room. Do you know what I mean? So when you've got a room full of young, hungry killers, tall, athletic, going at you, that's what's going to help bring the best out of you. And like even the strategy linked in with my dad and everything, like everything in that aspect. Like I had to go through a lot of adversity in training camp, which is exactly what you want, but after I overcame that, you really start to see a completely different side to you, or the side that my dad always to show out in the world, and I'm not able to do. So, it's definitely helped out massively doing that. And I would say that's probably the biggest change, to be honest with you, and just having a mindset of just letting everything all out there. Do you know what I mean? Just really just embracing everything. I had that mentality before, and now it's just sort of been amplified.
Yeah. And going into this weekend's fight then, obviously you're taking on Khalil Rountree, which, he's a known name. He's come off tough. What did you think when they put forward his name to you?
Yeah, well, I was extremely excited. I mean, as soon as I get any fight announcement, I'm extremely excited, like a giddy kid in a candy store or something. But yeah, obviously knowing that it's a really big name. He's extremely powerful, really good striker. Been around. It's funny. It's like it's a situation where it's almost idols become rivals, because I remember watching him on The Ultimate Fighter. I think when I just turned pro. And like me and my dad, we have like our own little thing, like our own little tradition, watching Ultimate Fighter together. And we were watching it. We were watching him on there, and he was one of the fighters that I admired, and obviously, watching him fight throughout the competition. So now, I mean, he's going to be standing across the cage from me, so it's quite a cool sort of vibe. So yeah, as soon as I got that name, I was like, this is big. I can't wait to get in preparations for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously that he's a great striker. How would you break down his skill set, from what you've seen, especially, having seen him back then and seen his growth throughout the sport?
Yeah, so he's extremely explosive, extremely powerful, very, very, very good kickboxer, very good Thai style. He made that adjustment, having really embracing that Thai style for two of his fights, but then he in his last fight he switched back to his old style. But still, it's good that he's sort of kept the evolution in his kicking and like stuff like that, and his Thai game. He's kept that evolution, but now with a bit more of a loose, like sort of style that he had, when he was in The Ultimate Fighter. So yeah, it really excites me to have a matchup like that, because yeah, you can really go out and test yourself. So I mean, we've not seen too much of his grappling, but it seems like his takedown defense is fair. So it'll be a very interesting matchup.
Do you see a clear path to victory in this one?
100%. I mean, as always, I see it in my head. I've been visualizing it. I can see the shots that I'll be able to land, see the things that I'll be able to do. All I can say is it's going to be an absolute banger, and I'm really looking forward to put out that performance on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. And you both have something in common. You're obviously both coming off of 2 losses. So, do you think that changes anything? What do you think you can expect from him on Saturday night?
Well, I mean, I think he's probably found a renewed sense of himself. He's found a different motivation of which he may have not had before. And both of us coming out of off of 2 losses, both of us are going to be extremely motivated. Both of us are going to be wanting to put on a show. Both of us are going to want to really like prove ourselves out there and make a statement. And obviously no one wants to lose 3 in a row, so it's a really important matchup. So both of us are just going to come out there pretty much, just all guns and nothing left on the. I think both of us are going to come in there, nothing, leaving no stone unturned.
Yeah, does that put pressure on you, having 2 losses and going into the third, not wanting to get that 3 losses in a row?
Not at all, because the way I see it, all I see is victory. All I see is having my hand raised. I don't see anything else. Even just like the way when I train and like when I think about the fight and the shots that I'm going to land and the things that I'm going to do, and I don't know, I just love this life. Do you know what I mean? I just love this whole thing. I'm embracing all of it. Like the more you learn just to accept it and sort of let it just run through your body almost like a drug. Like you feel like it's sort of just just swishing in through the veins. Like, that's how I feel like going into this fight. A lot of the more you put yourself onto that mindset of, oh, there's pressure, there's this, there's that. Like, what if I don't this, that? I don't even let that come. There have been thoughts like that, of course, like any fight will go through, but it instantly gets shut down by the positive energy that I have, and I've got great people around me, and I've had really good preparation. If you're confident in your preparation, you ain't got nothing to be worried about, and I'm definitely confident in my preparation.
Yeah, that's great. And how do you see yourself getting your hand raised on Saturday? How do you think it goes down?
I see myself winning by stoppage. That's it. I see myself putting the pressure and winning by stoppage. Doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, or 3, but I see myself putting on the best performance of my life, the most spectacular performance of my life, a performance which is gonna have my name talked about a lot in the media. For me, like, this is me going all out, nothing, like, do or die, kill or be killed. I got to go out there and bring everything out of myself.
Yeah, well, and fighting at light heavyweight, there's a championship title fight coming up, with Jan Blachowicz defending his title soon against Glover Teixeira. What do you think about that fight? How do you think that goes down?
Yeah, so I think obviously both are very good grapplers. Glover Teixeira may just have a slight edge on the grappling on the floor, but not by a lot. And that's going to be a key thing, is that Jan actually will be able to match Teixeira on the ground, whereas some of the other fighters haven't been able to. I mean, I say that obviously Anthony Smith is a very good grappler as well, and Teixeira done really well in that fight. I think obviously with Jan being a little bit younger, not by much, but he's got that extreme power, like that good blitzing style, and obviously Teixeira has got caught a couple of times in his last couple of fights. So obviously, if any one of those lands by Jan, it might be different, with the fact that he's got great takedown defense also, and he's got a good ground game. So I think those factors are gonna play towards Jan's favor, and I think he'll take the win.
Yeah, and something else that's just happened as well is the Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley boxing match. Did you see that? What did you think of it?
I saw bits and bobs. I didn't want to go out and pay the pay-per-view. Obviously, as most people, they're like, oh yeah, I'd rather just watch it elsewhere, sort of thing. So yeah, like for me, I just caught it on YouTube, just little bits and bobs that they put up afterwards. And from what I saw, I mean, you can't really tell much of the fight unless you watch, the sort of the full thing. I mean, I heard that Jake Paul was on the ropes a little bit in the 4th round. And I'm not going to lie, I actually put a bet on for Woodley to win in the 6th round. So when I heard that in the morning, that in the 4th round he got dropped, I was hoping I might be able to. But yeah, now obviously it did to fruition. But from the highlights that I saw and stuff like that, because they showed equal highlights from both fighters, I mean, it looked like both landed their fair share of shots. But from what I've been hearing, it seems like Woodley wasn't really pulling the trigger. And but for him to put him on the ropes in 1 round and like sort of stagger him, I think, how can it be a split decision to Paul if it was going pretty, like, tit for tat, like, you know what I mean? And especially they were talking about him going in the later rounds. So I don't know. Obviously, I'd have to actually watch the full fight properly myself to really get a feel for it. But I think, if anyone's gonna, it should have at least been a draw. I think, if the case was that Woodley landed like a really good punch in one of those rounds. So yeah, like I said, I haven't seen it properly, so but that's just my take on the things that I have seen.
Yeah, but does that interest you? Do you like seeing that cross promotion? A lot of people have different opinions about it.
Yeah, I mean, from one side you can say, oh, it's annoying when we've been working our whole lives, all these years to try and, make it to the top of this sport, and some guy waltzes in from YouTube and starts making a buck. But at the end of the day, you can't deny he is talented. Obviously, Jake Paul can box, and it's funny, none of them ever want to go into MMA because obviously they know what's going to happen. It gives them the fairest chance of winning, but obviously that's what it is. It's boxing. It's not MMA. So they're challenging them in a boxing sense. I feel like it's a bit, the burden of MMA is held on sort of the shoulders of the person that's competing, because obviously he's a world champion in the UFC. So in some ways, it looks like, oh, Jake Paul, a YouTuber, beat a world champion MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? So from that side, it sort of doesn't look so good, I think, on the MMA community. But saying that, Tyron Woodley did put on a great performance, not being a boxer. Like, Jake Paul's been training only boxing. Woodley's been doing MMA most of his life. And, he did take it seriously. He did perform really well. And, again, it's like, okay, Jake Paul, why don't you fight someone who's actually your own age? You know what I mean? Or even just like having your own age, another boxer and stuff like that, or even your own age, another MMA fight. It would be a completely different story. So obviously, it's a spectacle, isn't it? One thing he's doing, he gave a load of his purse to the fighters. I think that if we need to pay our athletes more, I don't know what is. If the guy is actually paying from his own purse to the other fighters. Now, it all depends on entertainment and your marketability. So I do understand that those things are a very important part of the game. Like, when people say that they're not getting enough money, well, you need to be more marketable, and you need to. And, if that means you're just not a marketable person, then your performances have to really speak for yourself. Like, if you have everything hand in hand, you can really, make a killing in this sport. So, but that's all part of the game, isn't it? So I think it does show that obviously the marketing side and the entertainment factor is all, as much as obviously performing, you have to have all of those roll into one if you want to grab those massive paydays and if you really want to make a name for yourself. So I think it is paving a way for people to understand the sort of step-by-step process of how to become a superstar, which is good. It's laying the foundation out. All we've got to do is pretty much, obviously not copy it, follow steps. That could be achievable by anyone.
Yeah. Well, we really look forward to seeing you back in action on Saturday. Thank you so much, Modestas, for talking to me today. I know you must be super tired, but I really appreciate the time. And we wish you best of luck on Saturday.
Oh, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. I always enjoy it. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day. And get ready for an absolute show on Saturday.